guys, Anime E here, and welcome to What If Deku Had a Half and Half Quirk Part 3. Anyway, there are no announcements this time, so let's just jump in. We left off with Deku finishing his speech and Midnight announcing that the race is starting. Everyone is lined up and ready to start. The countdown ends, and just like in canon, Todoroki freezes the ground and takes off. However, Deku's already 2 steps ahead and starts using his fire to propel himself through the air, basically flying. Most of the race goes the same as in canon except for the landmines. Instead of Deku using 2000 IQ and using metal to jump over it, he decides to just use his fire instead. And meanwhile, while he's doing this, he has one hand propelling himself and the other hand using solar flares to blind the other students. So yeah, Deku does this and he takes the win. Bakugo is second and Todoroki is third. Now, since Deku won, no one wants to team up with him except for Momo and Jiro. Now, the reason that Jiro wants to team up with him is because Deku saved Jiro last time, and he fought when they were in bad shape. So Jiro has a lot more respect for Deku, and she joins in. The team starts. Well, they team up, the Cavalry battle starts. Jiro is on bottom, Momo is in the middle, and Deku is out on top. Now, Jiro is sending out sound waves. She's sending out sound waves using her heartbeat stuff and tripping people with her earphone jacks. And Momo's job is to create things. Since she's in the middle, Momo's job is to create things that they may need in an emergency. And Deku's job is just to sit down and relax. His job is literally to absorb the sun's rays. And if someone gets a little too close, maybe start using fire. But yeah. So Todoroki is in the corner deciding if he should fight Deku or not. Because remember, Todoroki only uses ice and Deku can melt that. Or if he uses fire, Deku can either cancel it out or start bending Todoroki's fire. Because remember, Deku can bend elements that aren't his. Alright, he did it in episode 1. So, while Todoroki is questioning himself, Bakugo is launching right at Deku, and Deku starts shooting fireballs and solar flares trying to blind and burn Bakugo. Bakugo is able to dodge and keeps countering, either with a right hook or with an explosion. However, it's mainly just a mixed match between these two. Bakugo can't get close enough to grab his little headband at any time. However, he keeps getting close, but Deku just keeps countering him. Now, all of this is happening. Todoroki decides to stay back because he decides that fighting Deku is not the best idea without using fire. So, he grabs some other headbands. The match ends and Deku keeps his 10 million points. Moving on to the 1v1 matches, Deku versus Shinso goes a lot differently, and I do mean a lot differently. See, what happens is because Deku doesn't care and is a lot more jaded in this What If, he just tries to burn Shinso from the beginning by launching a huge fireball at him. And by huge, I mean the size of Shinso. Okay, whenever I say Deku uses one of the biggest fireballs he's ever created, I mean it's the size of himself, maybe a little bit taller. Alright, Deku's average fireballs are about the size of a human torso. That means from the bottom of your neck to the belly button, maybe bottom of your stomach. But yeah, those are his average size. His huge fireballs are the size of humans. You know, normal high school students like Shinso, Deku, Todoroki, Bakugo. Like, Bakugo would probably be one of his biggest explosions, those biggest fireballs if he made a fireball the size of Bakugo. So yeah, I'm not talking about mountain level or city level or building level. Some of you guys think that I'm just making Deku this overpowered god from the get-go. No. That's what full cowling is for. No, I'm just joking. He's not going to become an overpowered god at full cowling. At least I hope not. But yeah. So he's firing fireballs at Shinso, and Shinso's able to dodge them, although just barely. He keeps feeling the heat as they rush by, and Deku decides to go with a different measure. He uses a new attack that he has, called the 360 Solar Flare, in which he makes a ring around himself basically where it's just a ring of light, and he starts firing it out, basically blinding everyone within a 360 radius. However, since it is being stretched across that amount, that means he can't concentrate it and fire it at a certain distance. Meaning that if you get a certain far away, if you get a certain amount of distance between you and him, it won't affect you. And since this is being all around instead of one focused spot, the distance is a lot shorter. So Deku can usually blind someone with this concentrated light. Blind someone, I say, about a meter away. A meter or a yard for Americans? I don't know. I'm not doing any more research for this stupid episode. Sorry, that's my water. I got thirsty. But yeah, but with this, you have to be within 3 feet. Well, I wouldn't say 3 feet. That's a little too. You have to be within a yard of Deku. All right, a yard, or I don't know how many meters that is. I don't know. You know what? I'm just gonna keep. You just have to be within 6 feet of Deku. No. We're gonna do this. You have to be a meter for his 360 range, and 2 meters for his concentrated shot. All right, there. So yeah, he's able to hit Shinso with this, and Shinso gets blinded. And while Shinso is over there trying to recover and screaming in agony, Deku decides to fire a fireball. Launch a fireball. Sorry if I seem weird now, guys, or if that seemed like an edit. I was drinking water. Okay. So, Shinso gets burned from the fireball, and Recovery Girl has to go get the aloe vera. But no, he is burnt from the fireball, and the impact and the explosion force of the fireball knocks Shinso out of the arena. The match ends and Deku walks away without a care in the world. Remember, Deku is still a lot more jaded in this What If. He's only nice to All Might, Momo, and his family. Those are the only people that Deku would not attack under any circumstances. So yeah. So Deku walks off without batting an eye, and everyone kind of gets a chill down their spine because Deku seems a little bit evil. Okay, you don't just casually burn people and then walk away like you don't care. Alright, and the worst part is he walked away with no emotion on his face. Yeah, let's just say people start gonna keep a close eye on Deku from now on. Anyway, the rest of the fights go the same as in canon until Deku versus Todoroki. I'm sure you all saw this coming. Deku tells Todoroki that if he doesn't use his fire sign, he has no chance of winning at all. Now, Todoroki knows this, but is still super stubborn, so he just says, "No, I will win, using only ice." Deku, now hearing and understanding this, says, "Okay then, we'll die." And he immediately lunges for Todoroki, trying to burn him by using it. Todoroki is able to slip out the way and use an ice wall. However, Deku just burns right through it and then launches a fireball at point blank range towards Todoroki's face. Not a huge one, just, his normal sized one. However, Todoroki is able to just barely move out the way. It does singe his shirt, aka it kind of burns the edges of his shirt. So yeah, that's that. And they just keep going back and forth with Todoroki putting up ice walls or putting up an ice layer on himself to protect him, and Deku launching fireballs. Now Deku realizes that this isn't working too well in his favor, so he decides to use one of his other moves that he's been coming up. He calls it the Surrounding Fire. This attack is sort of like the 360 light one, except Deku, what he does is, he uses a fire blast from both of his hands and he just starts twirling in a circle. He's basically shooting at his face. If you guys ever watched Lego Ninjago Master Spinjitzu, not sponsored. I'm not sure if I was allowed to say that. I hope I really don't get copyrighted. But yeah, you know how they do the Spinjitzu thing? They just keep twirling and sort of a barrier appears around them. And that's the Spinjitzu part. Well, think of that, but with fire and pure fire. Except he isn't able to turn into a tornado and just beat up people in slow motion. You guys gotta watch the show for to understand this. But basically, he's basically making himself sort of like a fire tornado. except it's only in one spot. Alright, basically he's just doing a 360 fire. Alright, there. It's much easier to explain it that way. Alright, Shoto, realizing what's about to happen, is able to put up an ice wall. However, Deku easily blasts through it, and once he sees that little few seconds that Todoroki is vulnerable, he shoots a big fireball at him, about the size of half of Todoroki's body. And Todoroki isn't able to counter this. He gets hit right in the stomach with this and is feeling the impact and is launched almost out of the stadium, but he's able to catch himself with an ice wall. Todoroki then decides that if he wants to take the win, he's gonna have to start using fire. And so he fires up. Deku, seeing that Todoroki's finally using his fire sight, he then whispers, "Too late, Shoto." And Deku decides to pull one of his riskiest moves that I will ever allow him to make in this series. He fires one of his biggest fireballs, a fireball the size of Todoroki. And then, well, first, that fireball is giving Bakugo PTSD right now. If you don't catch my drift, watch part 1. Okay, people, you should know why this is giving him PTSD. Alright. So, he launches that fireball, and then right after it, Deku charges up his right pinky and fires a Delaware Smash. The Delaware Smash hits the fire, and it immediately explodes like a nuclear bomb, except not that big. Okay, I'm not trying to make Deku completely destroy all of Japan now. Alright, we don't want another Pearl Harbor up in here. We do not want that. Alright. I should really edit that part out. Well, anyway. I'm keeping it in because I don't care. Alright. So, this fireball hits the the Delaware Smash hits the fireball. It amps up the fire, destroys it, and it explodes. Boom. Now, this is based off of, again, more research. I told you this, guys, I told you this series is going to require a lot of freaking research. Alright. Now, in real life, wind carries a lot of oxygen, okay? It's made of a lot of oxygen. And oxygen is very flammable. For those of you that pass 5th grade science, you all know this. Okay? Now, Deku basically just did the equivalent of taking a fire and adding lighter fluid on it with that Delaware Smash. Again, all of you that passed, like, chemistry and science know that this is, like, you guys know this, alright? This is not a good explanation. Alright, moving on. After this explosion, everybody is thinking, well, that kid's dead, and they're not really that wrong. I mean, when the smoke clears, Deku is standing there with a broken pinky, but he's standing strong, and Shoto is passed out on the ground in a pool of hot water. Now, let me explain, studios. Okay, I'm done with the puns, guys. Not really. I like the puns, okay? Anyway, what happened is, let me explain. Basically, Shoto saw this fireball coming, but since it was too late to do anything, he was able to basically put up a small ice wall to keep himself from burning to a crisp. But the thing is, he didn't put it up between him and the fireball. He put it on him, sort of like an ice coat. And how he did this was the same way how his ice starts to coat him after he uses his ice for too long without using any fire. You know that one scene where half of him literally looks like Cyborg, except ice? Well, yeah, that's basically what happened, except cover his whole body with that. Now, this is able to keep him from burning, so don't worry, Todoroki's not going to be walking around with any serious burn marks. That's what the aloe vera is for. I really should get sponsored by aloe vera. No, I'm not doing sponsors on this channel. That's stupid. Alright, yeah. So, this channel, hashtag not sponsored by aloe vera, okay? But I'm not. Alright. So, Todoroki is passed out, mainly from the force of the explosion and the steam that came after. That was a lot of freaking steam, guys. You know how people pass out in a steam room? Yeah, that's basically what happened. Except add that steam to the impact of the fireball. Alright, that stuff is like a train hitting you. Well, not really, but it hits hard. Okay, guys, it hits really, really hard. Plus the Detroit Smash, which is already probably gonna be knocking him out the arena. Which it did. Okay, guys, he's out the arena on the floor in a pile of steam and hot water. Okay then, moving on. Oh, my bad, I forgot to say moving on and pause the video. Moving on, we go to Deku versus Bakugo. Now, before Deku can think, Bakugo rushes at him. He does not care about the countdown. He's just trying to blow up Deku and get an advantage whenever he can. Now, Deku counters this running Bakugo with a fireball, trying to make Bakugo explode and lose all his sweat. Alright, because remember, it's nitroglycerin sweat. If he hits it with a fireball, it's going to explode. So, he's trying to stop his explosion from he's trying to stop him from having any sweat to spare by making his whole body force the explosion with this fire. However, this works to some extent, and Bakugo stops moving because of the explosion that he's literally in the center of. Deku takes the advantage of, because remember, after the explosion happened, there's still smoke hanging around. So Deku takes this advantage and blinds Bakugo with a solar flare. Then, while Bakugo can't see and is sort of screaming in agony, because remember, I don't care how good you are, you cannot train your eyeballs to withstand light, alright? I don't care how long you look at the sun. You're not going to train your eyeballs to be able to, hey, let's look at that thing and not blind ourselves. Alright, if you do that, you might as well speed up the process and put salt in your eyes. I'm just saying, guys. So yeah, this still does hurt and sting. And while Bakugo is on the floor, screaming, Deku decides to take this advantage and launches one of his biggest fireballs ever, which is about the size of Bakugo. Alright, and then he launches a Detroit Smash, you know, the one where you use your whole fist. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why did he just use the Delaware Smash? Why did he use his whole arm? I mean, that was enough against Todoroki. Because Deku knows to never underestimate Bakugo. He knows that Bakugo is way tougher than Todoroki at this point. And he knows that in order to win, he has to go in for the kill. Not literally, but he may have to actually go for the kill. So anyway, this does work, and Bakugo gets slammed into the wall with the force of the fireball plus the Detroit Smash. And Deku passes out from the sheer heat that came from the fireball. However, since Bakugo gets knocked out the arena, Deku wins. And Deku gets first place in this sports festival. Bakugo gets second, and Todoroki gets third place. Now, after the festival, the hero agencies are announced. Deku learns about Gran Torino from All Might and immediately wants to start training under Gran Torino. And this is the end of part 3. I know this is short, but part 4 will be updated soon. Uploaded soon. Alright guys, I promise. Anime E, signing off. Bye!